man, we back getting buckets. The NFL wild card is here. I want to give y'all my breakdowns for the 6 games that are happening this weekend. Make sure y'all drop y'all comments along the way, whether you agree or disagree with some of my takes, the way I see the game coming out. Man, just make sure y'all comment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And yeah, man, let's just get right on into it. Chargers at Patriots. We're going to start in the AFC. This is going to be a very good game. I think it's going to be a back and forth ball game. And I think it's really going to come down to which team, one, can generate more pressure, and two, which team gets off to the better start. I say that because I think when we talk about the pass rush, I think both teams are going to be able to control the run. I think it's which team is going to be able to make the other quarterback more uncomfortable and putting them into harm and making them feel like they have to force things and them creating turnovers. I think if you allow both of them to be comfortable, obviously they're going to light you up. Both of them will light you up. Herbert will light you up. Drake May will light you up. What's going to come in the key, though, is how does Drake May handle the nerves being in his first playoff game? Can he handle them well? And that's why I think the start for either team matters. Because what happens if the Chargers jump out to a quick 7-0, 10-0 lead? Will Drake May be able to calm himself, get right back into the game in his first playoff game, and get them right back on the horse and go back down the field and score and get it right back to either tied or, back to a field goal possession game? Or will he go out there and force something and make the 10-0 lead, 17 by throwing a pick in his own territory, something like that? So those are the two things that I'm most intrigued to look at to start for this game between the Chargers and the Patriots. The Patriots, as I mentioned, not a lot of experience. We already mentioned Drake May, but think about it. Travion Henderson, Gonzalez, a lot of their guys have not played in a lot of playoff games. They do have a guy. The good thing is they did add a couple of vets that obviously have been in these playoff moments. Most notably, Stephon Diggs. They got Milt Williams from the Eagles last year. And they got a guy in Mike Vrabel who's going to have them prepared. But Mike Vrabel can have them prepared, and the young guys not necessarily be able to take that and play how they played in the regular season because the pressure is different. It's win or go home now. So that is something I'm worried about with the Patriots, and that's why I think the start is so good. I think that if they can get off to the start where they're up 7-0 and they go right down the field, and even just a field goal, if they can go right down the field and feel good about themselves, I think it allows specifically Drake May to just calm himself, and you don't have to worry, and he's not trying to out here press and feel like he's trying to perform to an MVP standards. Like, go out there and win a football game. You don't have to be, and would do exactly what you've done all year. What you've done all year has gotten you to being in this MVP consideration. Either he's going to win it or he's going to be second. And so go out there, continue to play football the way you did, but you never know how the playoffs are going to affect guys in their first time. So that's something I'm intrigued to look at. Also for Justin Herbert, what could ail him is that hand injury. Obviously, it's not on the stone hand, but those little things, whether it's, snaps under center, whether it's him just fumbling a shotgun snap, it's him handing the ball off, all those kind of things. One bad play because that hand is messed up puts Drake May and the Patriots right in the position to go get a touchdown on a short field and whatever. So all these little things, kind of come up and matter. For them, the Chargers, they do get Omarion Hampton. I think, as I mentioned, I think both teams are going to be able to stop the run pretty effectively. But if I was to give a team an edge in running the football, I think I would go with the Chargers because of Omarion Hampton. Question is, how healthy is he? We're going to find out. He said he planned, but, obviously limited in practice and whatnot throughout the week. So we're going to find out. But I think it's going to be a very good game, man. So for me, it kind of lends itself to am I going to lean with more of the experience with the Chargers when you got a guy like Jim Harbaugh, Justin Herbert, even though he hasn't won a playoff game, at least he's played in some. But you got guys like Keenan, been there and done that. Khalil Mack, Derwin James, all these guys are kind of been around the road. So obviously this is not going to faze them. Versus the team that has played well all year, hasn't had, the greatest competition, but nonetheless are still second in the AFC and possibly have the MVP at quarterback. I think I'm going to lean the Chargers. I want to go with the Patriots, man, because I really like Drake May and I like everything that they've done. It's always been hard for me I'm a guy that's big on experience. I'm a guy that's big on consistently proving what you've done. And now they're at this moment now. And I want to see, and they're at home. I just want to see, for me, I think I'll be able to know, as I mentioned, after that first quarter, not even probably halfway through the first quarter, we'll be able to see if the pressure is on Drake May or if he's losing out there playing Drake May football like he's played all year. That's going to be the question. But I'm going to go to Chargers just slightly because I'm worried about just that first time playoff jitters kind of thing. I'm going to go with the Chargers 23-20, but it would not shock me at all, obviously, if the Patriots won. It's a 3.5 favorite for the Patriots. They're at home. You get 3 at home, so it's pretty much a pick 'em. I'm going to go Chargers to end the upset in Foxborough 23-20. But I think we should be in for a good game that can go either way. As I said, it's going to be which team can generate more pressure and which team can get out to a better start. And I think that's whichever team does that will win this football game. Comment who y'all think is going to win. Also comment if y'all disagree, agree. Let me know. Next, I'm going to the Jaguars and the Bills. It's actually the Bills are going to Jacksonville. This is the game where I think it's going to come down to what happens in the run game for Jacksonville on both sides of the ball. I'm going to take Buffalo, but the key for Jacksonville, in my opinion, for them to win this game, they got to be able to run the ball effectively because that is the weak link of this Buffalo Bills team. They actually have a couple weak links. It's kind of funny because this is their best chance to actually do something when you consider no Mahomes, no Burrow, no Lamar Jackson. But to me, it's their worst roster that they've had since 2020 when they kind of started making this run. Because they also have a weakness at receiver. They don't have big time playmakers out there. But that run game, their weakness on defense. They can be gashed. We've seen it over and over again this year. They can be gashed in the run game. Can Jacksonville get the run game going? And then on the other end, can they stop James Cook in Buffalo's run game? If they can control the run game on both sides of the football, they have a very good chance at winning this football game. Because I believe if they can run it, they can control time of possession. If they can stop the run, they make Josh Allen have to go and play superhero ball, which we know he can go be Superman. But we also know when he tries to be Superman, he could put the ball in harm's way. And I think that's what you want if you're Jacksonville, because I think their defense is opportunistic, but it's not the greatest defense in the world. So you want to put that defensive position where they can be opportunistic, because in a shootout, I think we got to lend to Josh Allen just because of how phenomenal he has been, despite the lack of weapons he has on the outside. So if you're the Jags, that's your plan. Control the line of scrimmage in the run game on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. That's your chance. For me though, I think Josh Allen, if he can stay clean, they're going to win this game. I think Jacksonville has to create turnovers for this to happen. I don't believe that they're going to win a shootout with Buffalo. I have a hard time just believing, because they don't have, if they had more like lockdown guys on the outside, even against this mediocre receiving room of the Bills, it'd be a different conversation. But when they don't have that, as I said, they can create turnovers, but people can also get down the field and go score points against them. So I'm going to go with Josh Allen and Buffalo. I'm kind of just picking the quarterback in this situation because I think top to bottom currently, the Jags are probably better, but it's going to come down to what these guys can do in the run game. Because like I said, I don't believe what the Bills are good against the pass. So if it comes down to that, Trevor Lawrence is kind of having to dice them up, I think that's going to be tough. Sean McDermott usually comes in with a good plan, especially against the pass. But against the run, they're very vulnerable. So I think that has to be a plan. If they're able to run the ball efficiently, 5 yards a carry for 25, 30 carries for 5.2 yards a carry, if they can get that going with Etienne, with Tootin, that's the key. That's the recipe. And then shutting down James Cook. If James Cook gets to rolling, that's going to be that. It's game over. James Cook gets to rolling, it's game over. Because now you're at the mercy of Josh Allen, because when he goes in play action and pulls that ball out of his belly, that's when guys get running free. That's when they play their best brand of football. When you stop James Cook and you force, and they know and now defenses know that they have to throw, now Buffalo gets into trouble because they don't have guys on the outside that can win. It's Josh Allen having to scrabble around and just make a heroic play. And that's what can get them in trouble, and that's what the Jaguars want. But nonetheless, that's the Jaguars' key. For the Bills, like I said, if they can play a clean game and not allow those Jaguars defensive players to be opportunistic, I think they're going to have a good chance at winning this game, simply because Josh Allen, he should be able to go and make plays with his legs in this game. This is a game where I think they're going to he can easily find those seams, those skits, and get up out of there. And if he gets up out of there, they're going to be in trouble. So I'm going to go with the Bills on the road, simply because I believe Josh Allen is above and beyond the X's and O's at times. But if you are the Jaguars, that is what you want to happen. You want him to have to play Superman. I don't think he's going to have to play Superman in this game, because I don't believe that they're going to be able to shut down James Cook for the entire duration. But that is the key if you're Jacksonville. If you're a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, that is what you want. But I'm going to take the Bills. 27-24. I think it's going to be a close game. I'm going to take the Bills, though, 27-24. I think Josh Allen, at the end of the day, is just going to be too much to overcome. One thing I would like to mention, this is the Bills' chance. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, but when you got those other quarterbacks out, Without question, Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the playoffs right now. With all due respect to a Matthew Stafford, Josh Allen is the quarterback everybody will take right now, in the playoffs. No Lamar, no Burrow, no Mahomes. You got to go get it done. Go get this is the best chance. I'm not saying obviously it's a team game, but this is your best chance. He's never going to have another chance. I don't see another scenario where all three of these dudes are out of the playoffs at the same time. So money time is right now. Go at least get you to the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying, Josh? Show time right now. Last game in AFC, we've got Texans and Steelers. This one is going to be, I think the Texans should win this one. This is one that I think it should be a definitive in the Texans. And I say that because I think the defense itself I think it's just going to be too much for the Steelers. The Steelers don't have a good enough O-line. They don't have a good enough run game. They don't have good enough playmakers on the outside. And from top to bottom on defense, the Houston Texans are legit. They are elite. They are arguably the best defense in football. They can lock you down with their corners. Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. They can go get your quarterback. You got Azeez Al-Shire, Henry To'oTo'o. These guys, they be hunting. The linebackers are good. The corners are good. The D-line is good. They're good everywhere on the football. If the only thing that can mess them up is C.J. Stroud and turnovers. If C.J. Stroud puts the Steelers on short fields and it gifts them points, I don't think the Steelers can consistently go down the field against this defense with the lack of offensive help that Aaron Rodgers has. Not to mention Aaron Rodgers not being mobile enough to get out of trouble at times, which I think he's going to absolutely have to do because the Houston Texans, if they don't do anything, they get after the quarterback. If they don't do anything, they get after the quarterback. So I'm going to take the Houston Texans in this one. I'm going to take the Houston Texans 24-10, excuse me. I'm taking 24-10, and I just think it's going to be too tall of a task for that Steelers offense unless C.J. Stroud is putting them on short fields or fumbles by the running back, whatever. That's the only chance I'm going to give them. I just think that Texans defense is too good, and C.J. Stroud simply just has to manage the game and go get points when necessary. I think the defense is going to keep them on short fields in terms of them keeping field position nicely to where they can get the ball around. They're going to have the ball around the 40, 45. I don't think the Steelers are going to be able to move the ball like that. So I think field position should be in favor of the Texans and allow C.J. Stroud. All you got to do is go and just make the right play. You should be fine. The Steelers defense is good, but to be the number one paid defense, they're not spectacular, right? We've seen them get torched. We just saw it last week against the Ravens and all their botched coverages. So they can obviously be had both on the ground and in the pass. You just got to go and play clean football. You play clean football, I have a hard time believing the Steelers beat the Houston Texans. So I'm taking the Houston Texans. And now to the AFC. We got Packers and Bears. This is a very intriguing matchup. A team that is hot. They are on fire. The Chicago Bears versus the Packers, who have kind of been in flux the past couple of weeks, whether it's been injuries to Micah and the defense not looking right, and then the concussion to Jordan Love, who hasn't played in 3 weeks or so. There's been a lot of things going on with the Packers over the last few weeks. And I just feel like when you're going into the playoffs, you want to be playing your best football. You want to be hitting on all cylinders. And right now, I just don't know if they're going to be able to just turn it on in time, especially what we've seen from Jordan Love in playoff games. He's been great against the Cowboys, but against everybody else, he's been not so good. So for that, I think Jordan Love has to be Superman in this game because the defense hasn't looked the same since the Micah Parsons injury. They haven't been able to run the ball great all year, so I think he's going to have to go out there and have a great performance. If he doesn't, I don't believe that they can win this game. And I also believe the Packers also got to stop the run because if you allow the DeAndre Swift and Monunga in that run game to get going and you allow Caleb Williams to put that ball in his belly and play action, they're going to have a long day. Because as I mentioned, without Micah Parsons, that defense does not look the same. And Caleb Williams, the way he's playing, the way Ben Johnson is dialed up plays, that offense is flowing right now. They get Rome Odunze back. They've been balling the past couple of weeks, even without Rome Odunze. DJ Moore has finally gotten back into the flow of this offense, and they're clicking on all cylinders. The defense is opportunistic for the Bears. They're not the greatest defense in the world, but similar to Jacksonville, they create turnovers. They find ways to do that. And if Jordan Love has a turnover, it's just going to be hard. Jordan Love has to play spectacular. He cannot turn the ball over. I don't believe they can overcome it because I don't believe the defense can really stop this Bears team. I think Jordan Love is going to have to go out there and get a perfectly done. He's going to have to score 27 plus, in my opinion, to beat this Bears team because I don't believe the defense without Micah Parsons, from what we've seen the last few weeks, I don't believe they're ready. Now, they've had multiple weeks, to prepare and get ready. And now the game's going to be more serious. So, everybody's going to be locked in. But just from what I've seen, it's not looking right for the Packers. And with all that said, I'm going with the Chicago Bears. I love Ben Johnson. I said it in the offseason. I love what Ben Johnson has done. Caleb Williams playing fantastic football, keeping care of the football, not turning it over, not taking sacks. The run game helping out, as I already mentioned. They can run the ball with the best of them, with their two-headed running back room with Monangai and Swift. They're going to get Odunze back. Luther Burden has been a blessing in disguise, especially with the injury to Rome Odunze. I already mentioned DJ Moore. They got two tight ends, Cole Kmet, Colston Loveland. Both of those guys have been, getting back into form. The O-line has been better than it was last year. I just feel like they're hitting on all cylinders right now. So with the Bears hitting on all cylinders right now, I think I got to take them in this game. And I think they're going to beat their arch nemesis, the Green Bay Packers. They're going to beat the Green Bay Packers by a score of 31-21. I think it's just going to be one of them games where it's just the Packers just didn't have enough on either side of the ball to get it done. So I'm going with the Chicago Bears. Next game, we got the 49ers and the Eagles. For the 49ers and the Eagles, which team are we going to get for both teams? If we get the Eagles where the defense has pretty much been great all year, but if we can get the offense to have a game along with that defense, I don't believe the 49ers can meet that with all their injuries. With no Nick Bosa, without Fred Warner. They had to trade Travarius Ward, obviously. Or he just left, excuse me. He wasn't traded, but went to the Colts. I just don't believe they have enough to really match them. Obviously, no Debo. Ayuk hasn't been there. The playmakers just outside of Kittle and McCaffrey ain't been the same on the outside. They've shown up at times in spurts, but just to get consensus like play from them hasn't been what it is. And so if you can get a great performance from the Eagles, I have a hard time not taking the Eagles in this game. Are you going to have a healthy Trent Williams? Is Ricky Pearsall healthy? You're going to need all these guys healthy because it seems like the Philadelphia Eagles are getting back healthy. Jalen Carter looks like Jalen Carter's back. Looks like Lane Johnson is back. Seems like Landon Dickerson is healthy. So I just feel like it's going to be it's a tough matchup for the 49ers, and the Eagles defense, in my opinion, matches up perfectly with this 49ers offense because they're going to try to go through McCaffrey, and I think they're going to be able to they're going to have a great plan in place to stop McCaffrey, and they got the guys to do it. I just feel like it's a bad matchup for the 49ers, man, especially with all these guys that they got injured. And if I'm the Eagles, the one thing I do, I'd come in and I make sure that Jalen gets in a rhythm early. Get AJ involved early. Get Smitty involved early. Allow them to settle in the game. And now if you get the pass game going to where they got to unload that box and can't keep everybody in the box, now you can run it with Saquon Barkley. And if he get a lane, as we've seen with the time that they've given him blocks this year, he can still hit his head on the goalpost. You don't run for 2K and just fall off a cliff. It's just that O-line hasn't been as dominant as it was last year. The loss of Mekhi Becton has been big and all the injuries. So that O-line simply just hasn't been able to be as healthy. But I'm going with the Eagles in this game, and I don't think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be I got 27-10, 27-13. I think it's going to be a multiple score victory. I just think they have too much if they come to play. The Philadelphia Eagles, as I mentioned, it's just which team are you going to get? If they come to play, which you would hope they do in a playoff game at home, they just got too much for the 49ers to handle right now. So I think it's going to be a larger victory for the Philadelphia Eagles. And then lastly, we got Rams and Panthers. I think this is also another one. I think the Rams win this one pretty handily. I think the only way the Panthers can stay in this game is it has to look like how it looked a couple weeks ago when they beat them. And that was Matthew Stafford turning the ball over, which I've always said, Matthew Stafford is going to give you a chance to get interceptions. You just got to catch them. Gunslingers typically do. Him, Josh Allen, Mahomes, they usually give you an opportunity. You just got to make sure you don't drop it. They usually give you the opportunity. But if they can get turnovers and get in positive field position and go get points, that keeps them in the game. That's what allows them to win. I think for them to win, I don't see a scenario where obviously they blow them out. I think it has to be a scenario where they get the ball last and Bryce Young goes down the field and gets it done. But for that to happen, they got to stay obviously in the game. And I think the only way they can stay in the game is through turnovers and Matthew Stafford turning the ball over. Other than that, I don't believe that they're going to be able to keep pace with Kyron Williams, Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, and the defense on the other end is good as well. It's a top 10 defense over there that the Rams got. And when you add all that up, it's going to take the perfect day from the Carolina Panthers to really have a chance of beating the LA Rams offensively, defensively. And I don't know. And without the turnovers, I don't think that Panthers offense can consistently get down the field and score enough points to keep pace with Matthew Stafford, because I believe that Rams defense, as I mentioned, top 10, Panthers defense, another team that's they can get turnovers at times, but if they're not getting turnovers, teams are going to go up and down the field on them boys, up and down the field. That's where I have it. And I got the Rams in a large W, 31-14. I think it's gonna be over come the fourth quarter in this game. If you're a Panthers fan, sorry to tell you about that. Me personally, I hope for a good game. I just feel like they are outmanned at every position on the field, unfortunately. So that's where I have it. Those are my predictions for NFC Wildcard Weekend. Make sure y'all drop y'all winners for each of these games. Drop your comments, drop your thoughts. We out of here getting buckets. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. See y'all next week.